You're watching Red Hunt, and this story goes from zero to chaotic in no time. Recently, my 40-year-old aunt took me and my two younger siblings, who are 11 years old and 10 years old, to the mall. My 35-year-old mother gave me around $100 to give to my aunt, which would cover food for us and buy my younger brother a new pair of shoes. Toward the end of the trip, we stopped at a shoe store. I was a bit tired from walking and standing all day, so I decided to sit on the benches near the store entrance while my aunt helped my brother pick out shoes. I assumed it would be fine. After all, she is an adult and it does not take two people to buy shoes. They picked a pair and paid for them, and we all went home. Later, when my brother tried on the shoes, we realized they had accidentally bought a pair with two left shoes. This was unfortunate, but my mother did not seem too upset at first. Someone, either my mother or my aunt, kept the receipt so it could be fixed later. Fast forward to today, when we were out getting food and the situation came up again. My mother said that if I had been more attentive and gone into the store with them, the mix-up would not have happened. I told her I was tired and did not think I needed to be involved in something as simple as buying a pair of shoes, especially with my aunt there. I did not expect something as rare as two left shoes to happen, and frankly, I did not think I had any reason not to trust my aunt to handle it. I told her it does not take two people to buy shoes for my brother, and I can trust my aunt to buy him a pair without being there. She responded, "You are right, but looking back on the situation, we can see," insinuating that I could not have trusted my aunt to pick a pair of shoes for him. She supported this by saying that while my aunt has bought shoes for her own 4 children before, as well as for my sisters and me, she has not bought shoes for my little brother. I want to clarify that this was not about my aunt getting his shoe size wrong or any specific needs he may have. The problem was simply that the pair had two left shoes. The fact that my aunt was buying shoes for my brother does not make it much different from the many other times she has bought shoes for children. I pointed out that maybe if I had been in the store and actively watching, I might have caught the issue. I then said, if you check your tires every day, you might catch a flat before it happens. I was acknowledging that while it is a good practice to be vigilant, people do not do that all the time, and it does not mean they are negligent when something slips through. She responded, "We are talking about shoes and you are talking about tires," completely ignoring my analogy, which frustrated me. I was not comparing types of objects. I was making a point about how unreasonable it is to expect constant hypervigilance for rare outcomes. Anyway, I guess I am now considered selfish and catty for defending myself. Bro, you totally did the right thing. I mean, your mom is definitely overreacting here. You trusted your aunt to help out and mistakes happen, right? It's not like you were being careless or anything. Honestly, it's completely fair to expect some help when you're feeling tired. If your mom wanted things done differently, she should have just gone herself. It's really not cool for her to shift the blame onto you or your aunt. Everyone makes mistakes, and that's just part of life. Defending yourself. That's not being rude, it's just standing up for what's right. Your mom needs to chill and realize this was just a simple mix-up. You did your part, so don't let her guilt trip you, okay? Am I the jerk for leaving my friend's house early because of their dog? I have 2 very good friends who are partners, Jen and Josh. They are in their early 30s and have a 6-year-old Labrador named Kane, who they adopted 2 years ago. We all lived in the same town and were very close for 3 years, but I moved out of town 2 years ago, around the time they got Kane. Although we keep in close touch, I do not know Kane very well since he came into their lives after I left. I love dogs and I love Kane, but he is poorly trained. I came to visit for a few days and they invited me to stay with them. I ended up leaving 2 days early because the dog was overwhelming. Here are some things that happened during my visit. In their living room, they have 2 recliners, a love seat, and a small wooden chair with no arms on it, which I refer to as a decoration piece. We spent a lot of time in the living room eating, drinking, and catching up. Every time, Kane took the love seat, leaving me to sit on the small wooden chair or on the hardwood floor. The first time I tried to move Kane, Josh joked that it was Kane's spot and that he would not be moving for anyone. I ended up spending my time in the living room on the uncomfortable wooden chair until it became too uncomfortable, at which point I moved to the floor. They have a guest bedroom with a day bed that also serves as Kane's bedroom. There is a dog bed, but they informed me that Kane prefers the day bed. Sure enough, I spent both nights sleeping with Kane, and the bed was small and uncomfortable. I asked if it would be possible to move Kane's dog bed elsewhere, but they seemed offended and said that it was Kane's house and space, and they were not going to uproot him just because they had a guest. Jen's favorite thing is a charcuterie board, so I paid for an expensive gourmet one to be delivered for our first night. They both immediately complained that it had grapes, which dogs cannot have. They proceeded to remove the grapes and throw them out, then allowed Kane to eat off the charcuterie board all night, which I found unappealing. Additionally, Kane chewed one of my shoes. I asked if there was a place I could keep my belongings where Kane could not access them because he kept getting into my things. I placed my items on the table, but Kane jumped up and pulled them down. They told me that was the life of a dog owner, so I ended up keeping my belongings in a utility closet at the end of the hall without informing them. There are a few more incidents, but those are the main ones. I honestly communicated to them that Kane was a lot for me and that I was uncomfortable, but they did not take it well. They said that I was not used to pet life and that if I ever wanted a dog in the future, I should be prepared for these sacrifices. This disagreement has caused a significant conflict between us. Am I the antagonist in this situation? It's funny how some people think all pet owners just let their dogs run wild. I mean, responsible owners actually train their pets for everyone's sake. Honestly, if your dog can't behave around guests, maybe you shouldn't invite them over. Loving your dog is great, but it doesn't mean you should let them ruin your space. If a dog is chewing up your stuff and pushing you out of your own spot, that's a problem. You can love your pet and still set boundaries, you know. It's all about finding that balance. If they can't manage that, maybe they need to rethink their hosting plans. Dogs are cool, but at the end of the day, they're still just dogs. Responsible pet ownership really matters. Am I the jerk for how I handled this work relationship and situation? I am graduating from law school and was fortunate to receive a full-time offer back in March, which I accepted. However, I have been reflecting on how I explored another option and wanted an outside perspective. My grandparents have many connections in my area and are well known. A couple of years ago, I struggled to find a summer internship, so my grandmother introduced me to Rick and Sally, a couple who owned a firm called Old Firm. I worked there for 6 months and gained valuable experience. However, I rarely saw Rick and Sally, as they often went on long vacations and did not frequently visit the office. I formed a close bond with another attorney, Mary, who I consider my mentor. In March 2025, I received an attractive offer from new firm. I informed Mary and she was happy for me but mentioned that she was certain Rick and Sally would offer me a job if I were open to it. I liked the idea, so I reached out to them to see if they would be willing to discuss it. Sally responded positively, and we scheduled a meeting for the following week. On the day of the meeting, it was quite hectic. Sally changed the meeting location 30 minutes beforehand, and only Rick ended up attending. Rick arrived late and overwhelmed me with unsolicited advice. Although it was not surprising that they were disorganized and last minute, I wanted to hear what Rick had to say. Rick informed me that he could not hire me but mentioned that he knew Jim, who runs a firm called Solo Firm and is looking to hire. Rick suggested that I meet Jim, as it could be an opportunity for all of us to collaborate. I told Rick that I already had a pending job offer and was leaning towards accepting it. However, Rick insisted that we should meet and arranged lunch for the 3 of us the next day. I agreed to go, mainly to keep an open mind. During lunch, Jim and I exchanged contact information. He texted me immediately afterward to discuss the role at Solo Firm. I politely replied that I would have to move forward with my other offer because it did not feel like a good fit for me. I had several reasons for my decision. First, both Jim and Rick exhibited dominant personalities and were unprofessional in their interactions with me. Second, Jim was the only employee at Solo Firm and work-life balance is important to me, which made it seem like a poor fit. Third, Rick and Jim made many promises, but they were vague and uncertain. Ultimately, I declined the offer from Jim, and we agreed to stay in touch. I did not inform Rick or Sally that I was turning down Jim because I did not feel the need to, given that we were not close. I accepted new firm's offer and have not spoken to Rick or Sally since. Now I am planning a graduation party, and my grandmother asked who would be attending. I mentioned Mary, and she inquired whether I had invited Rick and Sally. I told her no, and she became upset, insisting that I should invite them due to our work relationship. I still refused, but was reminded of the past. I did not feel bad for not notifying Rick and Sally at the time, but I wonder if I should have thanked them for the opportunity. Am I in the wrong for how I handled things back then? Real talk, you definitely don't owe anyone anything, especially after all the hard work you put in for your position. I mean, it seems like your grandma really wants them there, probably because she feels they helped you out. If inviting them isn't a big deal, it might be worth considering just to keep the peace. You know, you don't want to burn bridges, even if your experience with them wasn't the best. At the end of the day, you're the one who accepted the job you wanted, and that's what truly matters. Just remember, it's totally okay to set boundaries. You can thank them for the opportunity without feeling like you have to maintain a close relationship. It's really all about finding that balance. If you can keep your grandma feeling good without compromising your own feelings, that might just be the way to go. Would I be the jerk if I want to cut my parents off? I am an 18-year-old female back for summer break living with my parents. I went to college across the country to get away from them because I had a rough childhood involving domestic violence and a toxic religious upbringing. It was difficult, but I worked hard and achieved a scholarship to attend college wherever I wanted. I chose a college as far away as possible. Our relationship improved with distance, even during my winter and spring break visits, but now everything has become difficult again. For context, I have a larger breast size, which is genetic. My mother has made me insecure about this due to her own insecurities. This is just part of my overall struggle with body image, which stems from comments made to me by my parents during my childhood. I have improved my body perception by being away from them and allowing myself to feel good about myself. I have bought more clothes that I feel comfortable in, some of which show off my breasts. Although I normally do not wear those shirts outside, I felt comfortable wearing them at home. However, my mother saw me in one of those shirts and commented that I should not wear that type of clothing in a house full of men, referring to my brothers and my father. I told her that I should feel comfortable in my own house and suggested that she should not raise inappropriate behavior in her sons or marry someone with those values. Despite my feelings, I put on a hoodie to avoid further confrontation. Another issue arose when my brother took my computer charger. He is currently in a rebellious phase, which my parents describe as normal teenage behavior. I also engaged in similar behaviors at that age, often because I felt trapped in my home and sought validation elsewhere. I was frustrated that my brother took my charger and my mother yelled at me for leaving my belongings out. She claimed that while his actions did not justify his theft, he was acting like I had in the past, so there was nothing she could do. I felt out of place in my own home after not living there for almost a year. My belongings occupy a small corner that I try to keep tidy, though some items do not fit. My mother used her financial support for my computer and a show she planned to take me to as a way to guilt me. This behavior confuses me and triggers the fears I had as a child regarding expressing my feelings. Today is the day of the show, and I am genuinely excited. My mother knows how much it means to me, yet she tries to provoke me while I am getting ready. When she commented on what I was wearing again, I became upset. I changed my outfit to calm down and avoid conflict. She perceived my actions as attitude and entered my room without knocking. I reminded her that I am an adult and that she should knock. She began to cry, which is her way of eliciting sympathy. She accused me of not wanting to go with her based on my behavior. While her attempts to make me feel guilty affected me somewhat, I did not let it frustrate me as much as it would have in the past. Once again, I held my tongue due to my past experiences. All these situations make me feel angry and lead me to consider cutting ties with both my mother and father. I did not elaborate on my father's actions, but he is responsible for much of the domestic violence in my life. The truth is, my mother means the world to me. When she is not being judgmental and manipulative, she is the best mother I could ask for. She has done a lot for me, but she is also part of my trauma. I need help navigating these feelings because I feel trapped. While I do not have to live with them and am financially stable enough to avoid seeing them again, I am struggling with this situation and would appreciate any advice. Hey there, what's up with that? Just a quick heads up, your post was removed because it goes against Rule 11, which covers topics like cutting contact or ghosting. So it's super important to check out the rules and FAQs to get a better grasp on the guidelines. If you think the removal was a mistake, you can definitely reach out to the mods through the link they provided. And remember, if you want to resubmit, you'll need their approval first. Just keep in mind that resubmitting without that approval could lead to a ban, so it's really best to follow their process. Oh, and if you're looking for a space to chat about your story, you might want to check out r/finderedit for other subreddits that might fit your topic better. Hope that helps. Am I the jerk for not staying out late with my sibling and their friends? For context, my sister is 3 years older and has always been more social, having more female friends than I do. I occasionally go out with her and her friend group. I cannot go out often because I have 2 children, and I travel to another state to see my boyfriend when I am child-free. This past weekend, I was going out of town with my boyfriend to see his family. I was leaving on Saturday morning around 4 a.m. My sister told me that she, Matilda, and Gloria were going out on Friday night because Gloria got a job out of state and was moving. My sister, Matilda, and Gloria had been friends for a long time before I met them. I was invited to join them. I initially told my sister that I probably could not come because I had a lot to do before my trip. She said that was okay. Later, I changed my mind. Since Gloria was leaving and I thought she was a nice person, I said I would try to come for an hour. My sister said that was cool. However, she mentioned that Matilda probably would not come because she had made plans out of state, but it was not certain. I liked Matilda, so I wanted to see her for the brief time I could hang out. I texted Matilda saying, "Hey, hope you can come Friday." She responded that she would be there. I assumed she decided to stick around. On Friday, my sister and I discussed plans, and I said I would try to come out for maybe 30 to 45 minutes. I wanted to make sure I had time to do laundry, cook, clean, pack, and get some sleep before waking up at 4 a.m. I thought that would be enough time for a quick drink. My sister said being a friend means being considerate. Since Matilda canceled her plans to go out of state because she knew you were coming, it would be crazy for you to only stay a half hour. My sister explained that since I do not go out often, Matilda wanted to see me. I told her that while it was sweet of Matilda to cancel her plans, I did not ask her to do that. I had made plans to go out of state and had informed my sister well before they made their plans. I was uncertain whether I would be able to come at all, and my sister was fine with that. However, I now felt obligated to stay out with them longer, which would cause me to get home late, too late to prepare for my trip and get adequate sleep. This was all because Matilda, who I had only met a few months ago and with whom I was not very close, canceled her plans because of me. I did not think I was that important. My sister and I ended up arguing, and she canceled the outing since I could not stay out later. Now Matilda is upset with me too. I find it surprising that this was already an established friend group, and I am just the younger sister of one girl, yet all of these individuals are upset with me over plans I made before theirs. Am I the antagonist? Matilda could have joined us for a quick 30 minutes, instead of just canceling. I mean, if she really couldn't make it, she should be just stuck to her original plans. It's kind of hard to believe she canceled just because you were coming. Honestly, your sister's explanation seems a bit off. The other 3 friends could have still gone out without her. It feels pretty childish to cancel plans like that. All of us should be able to enjoy our time together, right? It's not fair to put that kind of pressure on friends. Sometimes people really need to communicate better. Overall, it seems like Matilda totally missed out on a good time. Am I the jerk for blowing up on my sibling and calling them entitled? For context, my sister, who is older, and I are enrolled in high school. I have a sleep disorder that causes me to feel very tired throughout the day. Our mother tries to prevent me from falling asleep at times like 5 p.m., and my sister is aware of this. Additionally, my sister sleeps in the only bedroom in the house, while my mother and I sleep in open areas of the house with only 3 walls. Yesterday, I participated in a regional math contest, and I still feel extremely tired. I think the medication I am taking is not helping either. Today, I have a concert for band class, and my call time is in 45 minutes. Earlier, I was uncontrollably tired and decided to take a nap on the couch in the living room. About 30 minutes into my nap, my sister woke me up. She had been working on a script for an assignment and wanted my feedback. I remember telling her that I was trying to sleep. Suddenly, she changed the subject and began to talk about how our mother would wake me up if I fell asleep at times like this. Then she sat down next to me and started slapping a sock filled with rice against the couch repeatedly. It was quite annoying while I was trying to sleep. I asked her to stop and she replied, "If you want to sleep, go to your room." I raised my voice in frustration and said, "I do not have a room." I acknowledged that it was not my best moment, and neither did better moments follow. She responded that I did have a room, but I questioned whether she would call it that if she had to live in it. She continued slapping the rice sock and even turned on the television, as if her assignment no longer mattered. I lowered my voice and warned her, "If you slap that rice sock one more time, you will see what happens." I had definitely lost my patience. I just wanted her to leave me alone. I understood that if she wanted to use the living room, that was fine, but I felt she was just trying to annoy me. We exchanged some more words, but they only made me appear worse. Eventually, after we called our mother, my sister finally left. Our mother, who was at work, did not have much time but instructed us to resolve the issue on our own. I feel so lost. My sister is usually sweet and agreeable, except for a few instances that were likely partially my fault. I recognize that the escalation of the situation was due to my actions, but I wish she had not acted as if she owned the place and spoken with such certainty. I dislike being angry at my sister and fear that I might hurt her in ways I cannot forget. I know I can be cruel. I'm unsure of what to do. Am I the one at fault? It sounds like your sister was just trying to get your attention, but honestly, she totally crossed a line by being so annoying while you were trying to sleep. I mean, it makes sense to react strongly when you're exhausted, especially considering your sleep issues. You're not a jerk for feeling a certain way, but maybe think about chatting with her when you're feeling a bit calmer. Apologizing for how you reacted can really go a long way. It seems like both of you care about each other, and a good talk could help clear the air. Don't beat yourself up too much. Everyone has their moments. Just remember, sharing space can be tough, but communication is key. Good luck working it out. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.